everyone. At least it is morning for me. I was planning to sit down and edit some YouTube videos, but I decided I think I want to create a sketch first. This is this is actually from a variety pack I got from Cheap Joe's website. I think it is in my link below in the description. It is Waterford 140 pound cold press paper. I have never used it before. Like I said, it was in a variety pack, so we're just gonna try it today. This is what I created last week, and I really like it, so I'm gonna take inspiration from this. Now, I don't have a proper pen. I am not a proper artist in any way. I like to use what I have and see what is possible. I encourage you guys to do the same. I am going to use a blue pen because when I go and add my watercolor, it will most likely bleed, and blue will go well with this overall theme. You can also use black. I think I used black for the last one. Either way, whatever you prefer, you do you. So you can see here, I keep my lines pretty visible. I don't really care. I'm not super picky. So I'm going to create kind of like a circle here, I think, and a circle here. And I'm going to create something sort of like this. And for the initial thing, I followed a video by, I think her name is Kristy at Paintcrush. She has a beautiful YouTube channel. I love her so much. She is so encouraging. And I took some of the things that she was talking about and I just made my own. So I'm going to show you what I made. Just know if you're looking for another tutorial, well, this isn't really a tutorial. I don't know. This is watch me do what I can do with what I have. The watercolors I'm going to be using, let me go get them and I'll show you. So these are my watercolors. I believe they are Winsor and Newton Student. I bought them from Amazon. Yeah, Winsor and Newton, and they're the student grade. I think they're very nice. They create a very nice saturated color, and I recommend them. So we'll get to that later. Also, I have myself a tea here, so I'm gonna drink that while I do this. I didn't used to drink tea, but these last few months, I've just started drinking tea like you wouldn't believe. And it's just really nice. I have this really great tea collection. I love it so much. All right, so this center part here, we're gonna create some kind of wavy lines. I'm kind of going for a peony look. If you've followed me or seen any of my work, you know I usually don't go for very realistic things. Sometimes they tend to be more realistic. But I do it for the process, not for the end goal. So I encourage you to explore and see what you like. There's no right way to do things, you know. And then I'm kind of going to leave this open and create some stamen pieces. Let's see. So we'll do the main 5 petals. I usually like to do something sort of like this to keep my symmetry correct, or you know, better, more symmetrical. I just said there's no correct way, so. And I really like to make these lines a little wavy and bold. I just prefer that at this stage. I don't really have a style of painting or drawing or anything. I tend to go for whatever strikes me at the moment, and I like learning new skills. I like practicing, and I like some days I like the failing more than other days, but there are times when I really enjoy the failures too, because there's a lot you can learn from letting yourself try things, you know? And it's not always easy, but you can do it. I believe in you. If I can do it, then for sure you can do it as well. So I didn't really do this on purpose. It's just kind of how it happened. But we have 5 petals on the outside, 4 in the center, or 4 in the middle part, and 3 in the center. Let's see. Look, I'm talking. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just kind of letting the shapes emerge. Let's see. And it would be really great if I could get my channel monetized. So if you would be so kind as to subscribe and like this video, subscribe to my channel, I would love you forever. Thank you so much. I'm trying to build my brand, and one of those ways is by utilizing YouTube and, you know, getting my art, getting my personality out there. And I just really appreciate you guys for watching. I think you guys are just the coolest. So I really like to do these kind of swirly things. They're great. And I think I'm gonna let these be sweet peas. Sweet peas are a little bit tricky. Now, I don't know too much about how to draw them more accurately, but I know it's kind of like, you know, 2 petals kind of sandwiched together, and they're super ruffly and I'm just gonna let it be what it is. And that's just gonna have to be okay, you know? And then what you can also do is kind of just like, oh, that's a good sweet pea. All right, cool. You can kind of let it just be buds towards the end. And so the thing about sweet peas is they have a lot of these little curly Q things because it helps them climb. So I gardened a lot before I moved to Italy, and now I have a very, very small balcony with a few plants on it, but I used to have a big garden, and I love sweet peas. They are just the most magical thing, and that's one of the things I intend to do with my brand. Is I really want to have a farm, and I want to have community events and stuff like that, and I'm just really looking forward to having, you know, having the opportunity to have my own farm. It has been one of my probably close to lifelong dreams. Yeah, me. Then let's add some leaves. Now, I don't remember what leaves look like for sweet peas, so I'm just gonna imagine what goes with the personality of the plant. And then let's add something kind of like this. These are just really simple leaves, and I'm sure you can tell, but I really like circles, curves, all that kind of fluid shapes. So you need to add some straighter lines to create a little more sense of organization, but I tend to have very rounded curves everywhere. And then let's do like a trailing vine. And then what if we did like that? And like I said, a lot of this comes from, I hope I'm getting her name right. I think her name is Kristy over at Paintcrush. I just love her so much. She has a lot of tutorials on how to paint and sketch for creating floral bouquets. And so a lot of these forms that I'm using were very inspired by her work. So please go, if you like this, you're gonna love her so much. And she's just so sweet and so gentle, and it just makes my heart smile every time I do one of her videos. Also, I've done little charts. I love being organized, and I know this is not what organized people do, but I'm gonna stop this for a minute and I'm gonna show you guys some of the charts that I have actually made following some of her videos. I really enjoy them. So here is one of the charts. So she said, okay, so you're gonna create this chart, right? And you're gonna get your watercolors, and then we're gonna do wet on wet technique. We're gonna do wet on dry. We're gonna do wet on damp. Here's the flooding. Here's kind of an ombre effect. And over here where I had some space at the end, I just kind of filled it in with different techniques. So don't look right here. These ones here are what she was speaking about. This is the lifting technique, this is a scrub technique, and here's some line work. As you can see, I need to practice on my line work. But I love these charts. They feel so organized, and it's so exciting, and I'm new to watercolors, so it is very good to have this on hand, and I pull it out when I'm doing new watercolor stuff. It's just so fun. And here's a color wheel I did, and I kind of let everything run together a little bit more in the center. That was really fun. I think it's very beautiful. And this one, oh, I love this one so much. So this is a color study, and I'm already familiar with the color wheel and, you know, some of the terms like complementary and stuff like that. The split complementary, tetradic, and triadic, and I think I spelled them wrong, but this was so fun. I had no idea a monochromatic look like this could just bring me so much joy. And it like pulls me out of what I normally do, and then I learn, wow, like this, I really like this, and I really like this one. So go ahead, try some new stuff. It feels really good, at least to me. And let's get back to what I'm actually doing here. Thanks for bearing with me. All right, so let's have another sweet pea kind of coming out here. I'm just adding some lines because sweet peas are very ruffled. They are just so beautiful. And actually my birthday is in April, and if I'm remembering correctly, sweet pea is my birth flower, which I think is really, really cool because they are just so magical. And I can't wait. Dude, when I have a farm, I am going to have, okay, look, I am organized in some ways, not in others. So, I used to work on a flower farm back when I was still Mennonite, and if you have questions about me being Mennonite, you can ask me in the comments. Mennonites are kind of like Amish people. I grew up with horse and buggy. My parents, you know, still use a horse and buggy. No electricity. Church every other Sunday. The sermons are held in German, and we speak I shouldn't say we speak. I'm not Mennonite anymore, but there's a dialect called Pennsylvania Dutch, and it is kind of like a Low German fusion, and that is the language that we primarily spoke. So we'd go to these 3-hour church sessions in High German, and I always thought they were boring, and as you can tell, me not being Mennonite anymore, it just wasn't the lifestyle for me. But while I was Mennonite, I did a variety of jobs, and one of my jobs was working for a flower farm, and we had this greenhouse that wouldn't get rained on because snapdragons are usually very tall flowers, and you know, when it rains, sometimes the whole the whole row will get smashed down, and then they're just no good anymore. So we'd have several greenhouses that wouldn't get rained on. You know, like the flowers inside would be protected from the elements. And one of those had a lot of sweet peas in it. And we had them up on trellises, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 feet tall. And they were blooming, and they'd smell so good because they wouldn't get rained on. The pollen would just sit there, and the smell would just kind of ruminate. It was so magical, so sweet smelling. So, man, I just love flowers. I'm sure you can't tell. So, as you can tell here, not everything is, so I don't color within the lines. We'll just put it that way. Never have, probably never will. So right here, some of this I just filled in with green. So like somewhere like right in here maybe, and here. You know, I'll just have kind of like a wash of green. And I'm not gonna forget my bee because I love him and I think he's cool. And also, so I'm multi-passionate, and I only really share my paintings on this channel because that helps me to keep a better vision for what I'm working on at the moment. It keeps me more organized. So I only really share painting stuff, and I'm branching out into watercolor right now. Previously, you can see my channel. I have shared a lot more of the sculpting paint, and I still do that as well. But I also sew. I sew and I embroider, and I do a lot of other things. And so lately I've been embroidering. Oh, that's a fat little bee. Oh, I love him so much. I've been embroidering, and I made a couple bees on my last garment, and I think they're just the cutest. And the garment's actually in the laundry right now, but I can include a clip in this video of it. Oh, I'll include it at the end so you can see that. All right, I think that's pretty much it. And then I think what I'll do, so see over here, these flowers are really just watercolor. They're not outlined. So I think I'm gonna stick with that. And of course, this little guy is gonna get a little, any reason I have to add a little curly Q, I probably will, because I just think that takes it up a notch. So I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna go edit some videos, and then I'm gonna be back and we'll paint this together. And then let's add some leaves. Now, I don't remember what leaves look like for sweet peas, so I'm just gonna, all right, so we've let this dry for a bit, probably 30 minutes. You can leave it longer than that if you prefer, but I felt like coming back to it. So this is not actually a lens cleaner, this is water. I just cleaned out the bottle. So I'm just gonna hydrate all my watercolors. And as you can see, I usually move pigments over here and mix them, just so I don't mix within the little cells. It's up to you, whatever you prefer. I've got some nice, they're like fake squirrel hair brushes. And I'm gonna start with something, start with this one. That one's nice. Maybe that one. And this one for later. I've got some water here. Oh, you know what? I actually forgot to get a second water, so I'm gonna pause this video for a moment. I'll be right back. All right, I now have a second water. So I'm going to start with a larger brush, and I'm actually, I'm going to put them off camera, but I wanted to show them to you first. Let's see. First of all, I think what I would like to do is move pigment that I want to work with into my mixing station. So I'm going to use some of this Purple Lake. I'm going to move it over here. Oh, that's the wrong one. Oh well, that's okay. I'm going to work with kind of a pink and blue flower palette, and then the greenery is going to be a blend of different types of greens, different shades of greens. I really like watercolor because it seems like you can get away with less attention to cool and warm tones, because you know, a lot of these colors tend to blend together and then you just get a really nice effect. And I like that. Let's take just a touch of alizarin crimson and set it over here. I'm not sure how much of that I'll use. So this is my rinsing water, and then this is my water that I collect from before I go back into the palette. Let's see, I'd like to take some blue. Now, one of these blues is really strong, and I haven't quite remembered which one it is. I think it's phthalo blue that's really strong, so I'm just going to carefully take a little bit of it. I'm going to set it over here. Yeah, see how vivid that is? Let's see. I really love taking this one, Permanent Rose. I think that one's really beautiful. I'll mix that one in over here. All right, I'm gonna just start painting away and we'll see what happens. let's get some blue and kind of come in here. See, I really like how they mesh together. Yeah, that's part of the reason I started, you know, learning about watercolors. I just love how they interact with each other. Blue is just so strong. I actually need to put something else underneath this paper towel. It's going to get paint on my tablecloth. It's not a tablecloth, it's plastic, but whatever. It just means less cleanup. Here, I've got some I already used before, but they're dry. There we go. Let's see, more of this one. This is Rose Madder. So a little bit of a mix here. So I'm kind of getting purple, but I'm not using purple. I'm using pinks and blues, and then they kind of merge to create their own shades. And I'm still too new at this to really do it as intentionally as some people do. And so I just kind of put down colors and shapes and I see what happens. And in the end, I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I've only been working with watercolor for, I don't know, maybe a few weeks, but you know, it's as a hobby, and I'm not, you know, awesome at it, but what I'm really good at is letting myself try stuff, and I think that's very important for when you're trying to pick up new skills. I'm trying to be kind of loose with it too, because that's what's fun for me. All right, let's see if we can do a little bit of a wash. So basically what that means is adding water and kind of pushing, scrubbing the color. And wherever you lift up your brush is where the concentrated color is going to gather. And then it'll kind of, you know, move around a little bit as it dries. As it dries. It's really fun. And I notice my pen isn't even bleeding. So that's pretty cool. Maybe it's a different type of paper. This is just from a sketchbook. This one over here is just from a sketchbook. And this is a proper watercolor paper. So I don't know if that has something to do with it, but these are not drawing pens. These are, you know, just regular office pens. So that's cool to know. So this one's a bit darker than I was really going for. But like I said, I just kind of start placing down colors and see what emerges. So I'm just going to go for a paler version of that down here. So I prefer brighter colors, and it's starting to neutralize because I use some phthalo blue and some alizarin crimson. So I'm going to go back in and try to take it back to what I had before, which is kind of like a 2 or 3 tone kind of flower. So I'm going to start with mauve, I think. Yeah, that's a pretty color. That just livens things back up, you know? And then take a little bit of blue, kind of toss it on the outward edges here, right there. That's nice. I'm kind of adding blue where I think my shadows might be, but I am not always, you know, paying attention to that. It's not always my goal to actually be careful of where I place things. Sometimes my goal is just to have fun. I think it's important to do, you know, everything that brings you excitement. So for me, sometimes I do want to be more realistic and, you know, see what I'm capable of. And there are other times when that just doesn't bring me joy. And so I'm working on letting myself just do things because they're fun and take my time with it and just enjoy life. because there's no reason to rush out of the present moment. And that is not always easy for me to practice, so it is a continued practice. And when I paint like this, and mostly when I do things that I am not very good at yet, it is very easy for me to be in the present moment because I don't have strong expectations, because I don't know where my capabilities are. And that's very useful for me. And, you know, I'm pretty good at things like sewing. And sometimes I am a little harsh with myself in that arena because I think, oh, well, I should be able to do this, or I really, you know, I have all the skills to take on a big project, but sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I'm practicing being gentle with myself and doing things for the love of doing things. And I love doing many things, so that's cool. So I'm just taking a touch of green, and as you can see here, it like bled over into the blue a little bit more than I would have liked. So this is really just a, what do you call it, a scrap. Let's take a little yellow. Maybe we come in with more colors when it begins to dry a little bit more. That way you can get some layering going on. All right, now I'm going to switch over. This is a number 16 dagger brush. I got it on Amazon. I'll try to create an Amazon list that's updated. So if you guys want to know where to get any of these things, you can get them. So this is usually where I mix my blues and greens. Let's see. I think phthalo green is always a really good base, and it's one of my most favorite colors. And then I tend to let it kind of mix in with both the floral shades, the blue shades, and the yellow shades, and I think that helps you get a very nice blend. You know what? I'm actually going to do my sweet pea flowers first instead of the greenery. Let's see what to do with the sweet peas. I really like this purple lake color. Maybe we'll take this and warm it up with some, oh, some orange would be beautiful. And that just means I'm going to make a two-tone flower. I'm not actually going to mix orange and purple. They are too far away from each other on the color wheel. So if you mix them, too much, what will end up happening is you will get a very neutral shade. And when you're going for brightness, neutral shades are better done as transition colors. And you'll see what I mean by transition colors in a moment. So So I'm kind of going for a higher saturation towards the tips. Actually, these ones, let's make these a different shade. I think this is a mix of rose and, I don't know, actually. This is from my last project. It gives a little more interest when you play around and don't make everything quite the same, you know? I'm just going to kind of pull it down here like that to just fill in the bloom. And then I'm going to go in with a very, very little water. I'm just going to add it to the base here. And these are kind of the transition colors that I like. It's kind of when you get that mixture, but it's not mixing, you know, it's more of a swirling, a marbling, if you will. I think neutrals look very beautiful that way. And I don't know if I'm holding my brush correctly, but it is doing what I'm trying to do with it. So I guess it is all good. And then while we're at it, let's move some yellow. Ooh, I need more yellow. More water, sorry. Move it over here. And let's fill in the little bee. He's a bumblebee. That's why he's fluffy. There we go. And that way he can dry a little bit before we go in and add his black lines for, you know, these areas. Oh, I see my pen is bleeding a little bit there. I didn't notice because the rest of it was blue. Remember to drink your water, stay hydrated. Beautiful. Let's add a little more. And something that I'm still learning, getting better at, but still learning, is to allow your leaves to be different colors. They don't need to all be the same. And that way you get a very interesting piece. My flowers are pretty alike in this one. It could be applied there as well. I'm just choosing to go with a, you know, less of a, I don't know what word to use. I guess less differences with those, but whatever you prefer. It is your painting. You should do whatever you like with it. I'm just gonna add a little bit of blue here and there. And then I'm gonna go in with some other colors. So here's kind of a blue-green that I had left over from another mixing. I need more water. This brush isn't really big enough, so I'm gonna switch for this round one. then, as you can see here, starting to get really outside of the lines here. And that is one of the things I really enjoy about watercolors. I like this kind of sketch and then fill in the thing. Oh. I'm losing words here. I don't know, I'm thinking too much about my painting. I mixed a little orange in with my green there. It just warms up the greenery a little bit more. And I like how when I go to pass the flowers, it bleeds into the flowers. It meshes really nicely. I enjoy that. All right, let's see. Let's take a different shade of green. I don't think I've picked up sap green yet. I'll take some of that. Okay, that's nice. And drop it in here. Maybe get a little blue. I might have to clean this area after I'm done here. I'm mixing together too many things. I really want more yellow, but yellow is just so, it's so easily contaminated by other colors. So even though I have a designated spot for it here, it's kind of hard to keep it just yellow. All right, so now we've done the main pieces. So now I'm kind of gonna go in with a bit of a wash. Actually, maybe first add just a little bit more green there. All right, so let's pick up some of this green, kind of going like this. And we'll take some of our blue, toss it in there. I'm living in an apartment building here in Italy, and sometimes it gets noisy outside, so maybe not the greatest ambiance for an ASMR type of thing, but you know what? This is making the most of what is available, so luckily it's quiet most of the time. But we have these really big doors here, and they just slam so hard. They're so loud. That was one of the many things to get accustomed to when we moved here. All right, and then let's take in some water and just kind of do like this. You know? It's kind of a scrubbing technique, if I remember correctly. And we'll take, you can see some of the colors kind of pulled up in the edges there. Let's see, I think I need a different green. What do I have? Ooh, Viridian. That's very pretty. It's kind of a warmer, deeper shade than a phthalo green. See, the thing about phthalo green is that it so easily goes with blue or yellow. It's just that perfect green, for me anyways. And so you can warm it up or you can cool it depending what you prefer. And then what I'm just going to do like this and create some weird shapes off to the side. Let's see. Perhaps we take some glue. All right, now let's go in and pick up. Let's see. I think maybe I want to create some yellow flowers. Such as like this. I think yellow is just a really nice pop to put next to more of these kind of plum shades. I got this table from IKEA. As you can hear, it is very, let's just say it is not quality built, probably. It does the job, and it creaks a lot. I also have a chair that is not quality built, but that's another story. I just got it for cheap on Amazon, and it looked cute, and it squeaks a lot. Sometimes, you know, when they say you get what you pay for, yeah, you do. All right, so there's a lot going on in the middle, and I like to pull some of the focal points more outwards. So I think I would like to create more of these kind of curly Q things. So let's see how to do that. Yeah, that's nice. And sometimes you can just do kind of like an arching line like that, and that's good too. Let's add just a few, kind of like this. And I don't always connect these two flowers because I like the looser look you get when you kind of let things, how to explain this? When you have more detail in the center and it kind of fades towards the outward edges of the paper into dots and things like that, I really enjoy that. I don't know what you call it, but I think it's very beautiful. Let's see. Let's just go in for some really bright or dark greens, really saturated. And let's get, some of this, let's go Prussian blue this time. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it finished. And oh, my B isn't done, but I am gonna add my name. There we go. My B isn't really dry, but I think that's okay. I think I can still add black carefully. Not the best choice for sure, but you know what? You're allowed to make ugly stuff. I do it all the time. It's pretty fun. There's no rules that everything you make has to be beautiful, serve a purpose, anything like that. If you want to do it, just try it. Just do it anyways. I'm gonna add some definition to the wings. There we go. Yay. I'm thinking maybe I want to add some other colors to my main flowers. There's a lot of glare because I'm using my ring light, and so I can't quite see all the shades all the time. Let's add some darker things. Let's kind of do. Well, that's not the brush for it. Here, we'll use this one. That's probably too much. That's all right. Ooh. Let's add some stuff out here. Maybe like, wow. It's like repeating the color. Yeah, that's nice. I think that's good. I like it. I do. My bee probably didn't get as bright as I would have preferred. Like, okay, for example. Let's see. So I've got this one, and I've got this one. So see here, the bee is very bright yellow. But you know, I don't want things to be the same every time. So it's good to try new stuff and see what happens. And I did. And I really like this paper a lot. All right, thank you so much for spending time with me today. Again, please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. And let me know anything that you would like to see in the future, or if you have any questions or comments about anything, and I will do my best to get back to you. All right, have a great day and happy painting. You guys know I love making a lot of different things. I wanted to show you guys what you can do if you sew and embroider. Let me show you my close-up embroidery. I love it so much. And this is created to be worn like over the top of something. So if I'm wearing a dress or pants that have pockets, they can still be accessed. And it's just so flowy, which you guys know if you follow me. If you don't, follow me now. You can see all the cool stuff I make. I have another project I am about to start working on. I think you guys are gonna love it, so stick around. Anyways, have a great day. Thank you so much.